So here's a bad boy that we're going to replace right here. The compressor locked up. It did not fry, but we're still going to do a flush, get all the junk out of the system, cut the line sets back there. We're going to go ahead and install the new system in the same spot. Here's the new system. Here's everything we've got. We got some nice ice water, drinks, all that. We got some fruits and granola bars, some snacks. Had a nice breakfast. We got our water and stuff. We got nitrogen for nitrogen brazing. Got to have your gauges and hoses. You know, the bucket of water. We got our fittings, PVC. I've got, you know, my extension cord. We've got vacuum pumps. Got the recovery cylinder and recovery tank we're gonna pull out. And there's our oxyacetylene torches. So this is what it takes. We're going to show you guys step by step, so smash that like and subscribe. I hope you enjoy today's different episode. All right, folks, we got the low voltage disconnected. We're going to go ahead and cut the copper lines now. So let's see if we have enough clearance to do this one. Barely. If I strip this back, pull it back enough, I should. Watch out for spiders when you do this. You can have black widows and nasties hanging out. So always be careful. Pay attention. If you see the thick webbing, you'll know it won't look right. All right, now, you know what? Since I'm going to do a whole new, we're not going to use, you don't use the same filter dryer. You know, none of those parts in the old unit are going to be reusable. So we're not cheap. We don't want to try to do that. You don't reuse parts. So we're going to come down line of this filter dryer and everything and make our cut for the liquid line right here. And the way you want to do this so you don't score and burr the copper is you barely twist it and you turn it a good 4, 5, 6 times, and then you barely twist it again, just a small amount, right? You don't want to put pressure on the line so that it breaks uneven. You want it to kind of pop through all at the same time equally, and you'll see you get a clean separation when you do that. And then we're gonna have to clean the copper, so we got sandpaper, because you never weld on dirty copper. It's just not gonna work. It's not a good idea. your bond, you know, your Silphos is not gonna bond. All right, so you heard that little hiss. I had the lines under a vacuum. All right, so we got that out. Now let's go ahead and cut this one right here top. I'll show you what I mean by a clean cut. See, you don't want too much of a lip. You don't want too much of a deburring and a lip in there, because if you put your copper on, you don't deburr it, this little lip that sticks out causes turbulence in the flow. And a lot of guys think that it doesn't matter, but those little things do matter. What separates the good guys from the not so good guys. So we're going to clean all this up, get rid of this old foam and pull this back. We're going to rewrap it with some new foam. I'm probably going to redo the suction line. This braze right here looks kind of cruddy, so we'll see if we can do it a new section from here. It just depends, but we're going to run new liquid, you know, a good foot just about, because the new unit's going to sit where the same, you know, same spot where the old one was. So now what we got to do is disconnect the high voltage. So we've got it off. Always double triple check. So there's a way you get these breakouts. See, this one had just been broken, but you actually take these off a certain way. That was already coming loose like that. So now all we really have to do is take our L1, our L2, and our ground off. So let's do that, and we'll get to work putting the new one in. All right, folks, earlier I told you to be careful. Well, when I was taking all this stuff off, guess what happened? Big old black widow came out, and I knocked it loose, and it's down in there somewhere, so it'll leave me alone. It'll be fine. But yeah, there was one in there, all right. So always watch it. Watch inside of here. So when you're doing things, look underneath and make sure when you grab stuff and you check stuff that you're checking for that, because you don't want to get knocked out of work. All right, so that's it. She's disconnected. This whip over here. I got the breaker off, the disconnected. She's safe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's important that before you do any brazing that you clean the copper, because if you have spots on your copper like this, you're going to have areas where the flux and the silphos is not going to pull in, and you'll get leaks. So we're also going to recut the pipe, and we're going to clean this back, and we're going to use this stub right here and cut it, and we're going to put a piece of 45 here. We'll move this, we'll cut this, and put a coupling or a 45, so it's going to come like this. And then this one, I'm just going to get a straight coupling piece, connect it here, and run it straight into here. So we'll show you guys what this is all going to look like in a second. Let's go ahead and clean the pipes really quick. So one thing I was always taught, I see a lot of guys doing it like this. Okay, now the thing is this, if you clean copper, so if you clean copper like this, right, then you're going to clean it quicker. So if you can get it into a good strong position, right, and then you can do that to it, it's going to clean quick. However, the score marks are going to go this way. I was always taught, clean the copper the same direction that you want the braze to flow. So obviously, if I want the flux to flow in this way, I want the score lines and the scratching, because there will be some of it, right, I want it to flow the direction that the brazing flux and bonding agent's gonna flow. So we'll show you guys what this looks like here. All right, guys and gals, we've got the copper cleaned up nice and good here, and we're ready to braze. We're gonna nitrogen braze. So I'm gonna start, I'll show you guys how we nitrogen braze. So there's a couple of different ways you could do it, but number one way I think is, just out of an abundance of safety, take out the schrader cores. So they make a tool for pulling these things out. So you thread this on, all right. So there's clear little seals on them. It's hard to tell, but if you overheat these, they'll warp. So we want to make sure we take them out. And then what we're going to do is I'll hook up my suction side. That's the one I like to use. And here's what we're going to do. So the schrader valve is out on this thing, system's open. So I'm going to leave the liquid line closed, right, so that I'm only going to have the suction side open, and then I'm going to hook the yellow port to my nitrogen over here. And when I do this, I'm going to purge nitrogen, and nitrogen should come shooting out of there. Once that's been established, we'll drop the pressure to a brazing pressure, and then we'll go ahead and start nitrogen brazing, and I'll show you how we hook everything up. So first, let's get the regulator on the tank. One of the rules about transportation is you don't want to transport these tanks with the regulators in case they fall over. You're going to break your expensive regulator, or the bottle flying off in a random direction like a rocket. You don't want that to happen. So we'll show you guys. If you guys see here, once I get this on, it's going to tell me what my tank pressure is and then what my manifold pressure is, meaning inside here in the hoses. So we're gonna hook up to here. We're gonna crack the nitro just a little bit to make sure the manifold's not see, we don't want the manifold super open. All right, so we're pretty much full, as you can see in our PSI. And what I would do is, if I wanted to braze, I would hold the needle right there in the middle of brazing, about 4 to 5 PSI. If I want to purge the system, come throw it over here to 200. Now if we come over here, there should be eventually there should be some nitrogen coming out of this. Yep, there is. So we'll turn it on high so you can hear it. You hear it? It's coming out of all the little cracks and crevices right here. Then as we seal them up, then it'll start coming out of here more and then out of here more. So let's get to brazing. So we're gonna set the nitrogen to a lower pressure so we don't have a bunch of air coming out, because then your flux won't go in. All right, let's go ahead, lower this to our brazing pressure. Let's get to work. Now, how do we set up our oxygen and acetylene? First of all, you want to make sure all your fittings are tight, everything's good. And when you do this one, you want to open your oxygen all the way, all right? And I like to use around 20 psi on the oxygen side as my feeder, and it's dropping a little. So, and then you regulate it with this. There we go. Okay. And then you take your acetylene and you only want to crack it a little bit. All right, you don't want to open this thing full, and you like 5 to 7. See, we're at 10 right now, but watch when I use it. You see how it drops? And away we go. So we got nitrogen coursing through the system right now. And here's what we're going to do before we start brazing, is we're going to get some wet rags and water ready, which I already got. And we're going to want to prep the area. So one thing I'm going to do is put a couple of wet rags right over this to protect the thermostat wire from burning, and any of this stuff from burning. So we got that there nice and good. Then we're going to put a rag around this one and one around this one. All right. Okay. And now I'm protecting these king valves here from overheating so that we don't accidentally release all the freon while we're trying to braze, and you warp the king valve. You may not even be able to get it open after you do your brazing if you warp it, or you could create a leak where the freon starts shooting out on you before you're finished brazing. So another trick to keep this hose out, you can take it and zip tie it somewhere up high or make sure there's something to keep it out of the way so it don't fall down. Let's see if we can set this on there just like that. There we go. All right, so we've got our nitrogen flowing through. We've got our wet rags. Let's get to brazing. All right, so I've got my bucket with my wet rags nearby. I've got all my brazing stuff set up right, and now let's get to brazing. So first we're gonna open the acetylene just a crack, I mean tiny, right? And then you want to make it until it starts kind of doing that and the soot goes away. Then you open the oxygen till you get a nice little blue tip. I could do it with that, but I prefer to braze hot. So I like mine to sound like a jet engine and have about a 1/4 inch tip. All right, let's get to it now. Remember to move your heat around. All right, there we go. And remember, folks, it does not take a lot of flux to do the trick right if you're doing it right. You want to direct your heat towards the coupling, not towards the smaller piece. And you need to watch it. You see how there's like a stain there? That's it being pulled into the pipes. Now we got to do the bottom side as well. So what we'll do is we put some on the top and we'll feed it around. Watch. So we do like this, and then we direct it down and we go around on the bottom and we do the same thing. And we move this here, and we move that. There we go. And we should have a pretty solidly brazed joint now. We'll check it in a minute. But I want to make sure I could do this visually for you guys. So the bottom sometimes I have to lay down to do. All right. Move the heat. Remember, it does not take a lot of flux. Oh, see that came loose there? We'll go back to that in a second. Heat spreading pretty good. Pipe's getting real hot, so I don't have to warm each consecutive piece up that bad. I'm not doing the undersides very good because I'm just brazing so you could see. I'm gonna go back and re-hit everything. I'm just kind of doing a quick tutorial for you guys on how to braze. And see, you don't need a lot of flux. You direct it in with the pipe, with the torch. You see? Does not take a lot to seal. Easy peasy though, that's how it's done. Not too hard. You guys see how many connections I was able to do at one piece? I gotta be careful getting over this hot stuff. I could burn myself. right, see? Now I gotta get underneath. That ain't finished. I'll show you how we do it. Oh, that wasn't too good. There we go. There we go. That's mostly done, folks. Boom. Now make sure to cool your welds off pretty quickly. And then I'm gonna go back, sand it and clean it, and then I'm gonna finish welding the bottoms. But you see, I didn't even use one full piece. And I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 connections. Removed the schrader valves, nitrogen braze, clean work. All right, now folks, we're gonna go ahead and hook up the electrical. So we're gonna do our low voltage first. Strip back the wires here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hook up the high voltage and then the low voltage. And this is your Y signal, your yellow to red. And then I'll verify on the furnace before we turn it on that it's like that. But you don't ever usually have red as your ground or common. That's like a super big no-no. The white would be, and then the blue is your ground or common if you don't have a green. So blues, browns, green, and black is usually a common or a ground color for low voltage, while red, yellow, sometimes even blue, believe it or not, for your low voltage Y. So there's a couple of different setups. It's usually red or yellow though. All right, so we got the low voltage hooked up. I'm going to make this all clean. We're going to zip tie this down here, and then we're going to do this here, and then I'm going to zip tie the excess right here. Everything's going to tuck in this compartment. It's going to look clean. But for now, we're going to go ahead and do the high voltage hookups. All right, and then we're going to hook up the ground that goes over here. So we're going to go ahead and hook everything up, show you guys how it's done. Not very hard at all. Everything's dead. There's no power right now. I actually don't like, even when I'm doing repairs, even for speed and all that, I don't like working on live stuff. However, if you do, you need like a screwdriver like this. This is a little busted up. I'm pretty sure I need a new one. All right, so black with black on the left, L1. The white, it's like the goes with whatever, red or yellow, usually depends on your system, if it's a package unit, how old it is. Most of them are red and black now. Black is your L1 and red is your L2, T1 and T2. Alright, now sometimes when you go to tighten this down, if you tighten too hard, you can break the plastic piece on the contactor. It's a pain in the butt. So kind of hold the wire and then go as tight as you can. You don't want to leave your wires loose. You want to leave them, you want to make sure they're nice and snug and tight in there. Another thing is some dielectric gel and some other what do you call it, I forget the other term, but you use it on your connections to maintain a solid connection and to prevent corrosion. Time to head up into the attic. It's currently about 103 degrees outside, so I'm assuming it's going to be about 150 up here. Can't stay up here for more than 15-20 minutes at a time. You got to watch it. You could actually end up killing yourself.
What?
So yeah, you got to be careful. So all right, let's push this back here. If you've never seen what an attic looks like here in the Central Valley, this is your average attic. You know, this has got a lot more room than some of them, I'll tell you what. Well, you see back there, that's where some of our attics look like that, you know, only 4 or 5 feet. At least we got a little bit of room right here. But I've got to get over all this junk, and the coil that I'm going to replace is right inside of here. So we're going to open the coil up and cut out the old. So we'll see you guys in a second. We'll get everything set up. Whoo-wee. A lot of work in a very hot attic. So I'm going to get to work bringing up the new plenum coil. Then I have to cut the holes for the ducts, hook them up, and then do my welding. So we'll see you guys in a bit. Whew, ton of work. Not an easy job. Not an easy job. All right, folks, we're all done. So about 11-12 hours. Actually about 7 to 8 hours of work max, not even that, maybe 6. I can only work 20 minutes at a time. I have to get out of here or else I could die. So we got the new coil in, hooked up all the ductwork, sealed everything, good to go. I got to wrap the expansion valve, and we're all done. So that's how you put in an air conditioner. Sorry I missed the brazing and a lot of the work up here, but it was brutal. You do not want to work in an attic. I mean, it pays good money though, so check it out. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial of how you install an air conditioner. Don't go trying it at home. It's just for your entertainment purposes. Thanks for watching.